Good morning. Today is Sunday, April 12th, 2024. I don't think it's possible to fully experience Yom HaZikaron, Israel's Memorial Day, Yom HaAtzma'ut, Israel Independence Day. I don't think it's possible to fully experience them outside of Israel. But we have to try. And this year we must try harder than ever. Now, I hope to speak about each of these days. Monday, about Yom HaZikaron. Tuesday, about Yom HaAtzma'ut. But today I want to try to share the mood in Israel as these days approach. As Daniel Gordis writes, and he is living in Jerusalem, writing from Israel, for Yom HaAtzma'ut, a day of national celebration, it's not that people don't want to be happy. Some don't know how. And that's understandable. And some don't know whether they should. And that's also understandable. What do we do on this upcoming Independence Day of Israel? It's not at all clear. There's a national ceremony, as there always is. One year I had the privilege to be there in person. But this year it will be without a live audience. But what about the other common and characteristic celebrations of Yom HaAtzma'ut? What about the barbecues? What about the special davening, the special prayers for Yom HaAtzma'ut? What about the dancing and the celebrating? What should people do? And there is going on right now a national debate among very thoughtful, caring, Zionist, nuanced people. And so what I want to do today is to share a little bit of the scope, of the spectrum, of the mood that is, of course, both proud and pained, that is Israel today. And these are not the only positions, and neither is right or wrong. And we will see Monday and Tuesday what Israelis actually do. But these are two thoughtful responses of people thinking about in advance what these days will be like. I want to share these two with you. One comes from Rabbi Mishael Zion. He is an educator and a faculty member of the Mandel Leadership Institute in Israel. And he states that he's going to provide answers to a number of questions, but he states clearly that he is not giving his halachic opinion, his opinions based on Jewish law, but he is expressing in these answers what's inside his heart. With whom should we celebrate Yom HaAtzma'ut, Israel's Independence Day? He writes, with the people with whom we celebrated October 8th. The day that all of us were spared work to save our country. We should spend the day with the neighbors and friends we volunteered alongside, or the reservists and regulars who found ourselves fighting alongside them, with the organization and WhatsApp groups and local initiatives, with the family, with the people with whom we stood shoulder to shoulder to rebuild the country. That's who we should spend this day with. He was asked, wouldn't it be better to completely cancel the celebration of Yom HaAtzma'ut? And that is certainly a view that is found and is heard in Israel today. And he writes, this is an understandable reaction. Even after the destruction of the temple, the Churban Beis Hamikdash, there were those who said, we will never make Kiddush again. We'll never eat meat again. We'll never celebrate. We'll never laugh. We'll never listen to music again. But he writes, that's not the correct answer. He writes, this year marking Yom HaAtzma'ut is a particularly important mitzvah. In the last few months, we have come to remember how dear our country is to us, how critical our sovereignty and our armies are to our lives and existence, how critical is a government that is legitimate and functioning and worthy. And we also remember that our independence and our country do not exist except by our strength and, of course, with the help of God. And that without our participation, it will surely be lost at the hands of our enemies from the outside or those on the inside who seek to take advantage of us, and by anyone who does not lend a shoulder and participate in the public's sorrow and joy. He was asked, but how will we celebrate with so much bereavement and loss? How will we barbecue? How will we dance? And he answers strikingly, mourners in their year of mourning, and we know how many thousands of people that includes. Mourners in their year of mourning will not have barbecues, and they won't dance. And whoever feels themselves in the circles of mourning this year, it is better not to dance or barbecue. And those loved ones who have family members or friends who are hostages, whether they are alive or not, they will not want to sing and dance and celebrate, and they should not be expected to. However, mourners who wish to celebrate, to rejoice, to have a barbecue can certainly do so. As it is said, this is a statement in the Talmud, Adam yodea moras nafsho, a person knows the bitterness in their own heart. Every mourner knows what they need to lift their spirits. And those who are with soldiers or reservists or doctors and therapists, and anyone who is required these days for the effort, if they want to celebrate, and it is a great mitzvah to celebrate with them, anything that gives strength to do their job. Should we recite Hallel? It's the custom in most places in Israel. It's a custom in many places here. It certainly is at ADATH. On Yom HaAtzma'ut, we say Hallel. Hallel is the special prayers that we say for moments that are worthy of thanksgiving, of great miracles that occurred to the Jewish people. How can we say Hallel this year? He writes, Hallel is not said about the present, it is said about the past. We celebrate Hallel, we say Hallel to celebrate the miracles that have happened in the past, and in particular the miracle of the establishment of the state of Israel. And also he says, I will say Hallel this year in order to pray, Ana Hashem Hoshiana, please God save me, in a loud voice. And then to cry out, Ana Hashem Hatzlichana, please God, please help me. And pray that it will be so. What should we pray for on this Yom HaAtzma'ut? We should pray for the return of the captives, for the healing of the wounded, healing of mind and healing of the body, peace for Israel, and peace for all the inhabitants of this land. And pray that the leaders of this country and their advisors will know how to make the right decisions and use the military's achievements correctly. That's one approach. A different approach, but with a similar devotion to and love for Israel, is an article written by Hanoch Dam. I have quoted him to you before. And in this article, he provides a letter that he received from a bereaved mother who asks that he publish her letter, and he does. Hanoch, my name is Miriam Haber. Our son, the late Zachariah Pesach Haber, fell in Gaza on January 16, 2024. He left behind his wife Talia, 3 children, Shad'el, age 5, Shavat, age 3, Nachliel, age 1, me and my husband Aaron, and 3 brothers, Nathanael, Noam, and Yisrael, and a lot of relatives and good friends. Zachariah, 32 years old when he died, was a smiling, humble, very smart, and an amazing family man. So Miriam writes to this newspaper reporter, with Yom HaAtzma'ut approaching, I want to share with you a text that Zachariah wrote on Yom HaAtzma'ut 2019. Now, if you remember back to 2019, Yom HaAtzma'ut was preceded by just a few days by missiles that fell in the south. And at that time, Zachariah, the soldier who has now Nebuch fallen in Gaza, at that time in 2019, this is what Zachariah wrote. He wrote, the transition from Yom HaZikaron to Yom HaAtzma'ut every year is painful, from mourning to celebration, from sadness at the loss to joy over everything that is. But I feel that this year it's a little too much. It's really very jarring for me to celebrate Independence Day this year. So what? Not to celebrate this year? God forbid. This year, like every year, I intend to dress festively in blue and white and pray and recite Hallel with a wholehearted blessing. And I would not be against a barbecue and a good trip. So what should happen, in my opinion, on this Yom HaAtzma'ut? In my opinion, this year, and again, I'm saying it for this year, and of course, depending on the security situation, during Yom HaAtzma'ut, you should go down to the south. You don't have to go all the way down to the Gaza envelope. Even if you just go down south to Ashkelon and Ashdod, you will reach places that were shelled by rockets. And this happened again just a few days ago. And the idea is very simple. Did you plan to have a barbecue on the beach in Tel Aviv? Have a barbecue instead on the beach in Ashkelon. Did you want to see the Air Force fly over in Jerusalem? Watch the flyover in Kiryat Gat, even a small part of the day, just to show the people in the south that we have not abandoned them. And I would add, of course, also for the people in the north, but again, it depends on the security situation. I'm not saying that those who don't do this are betraying the residents of the south, and I'm not critiquing anyone. But here's a point to think about. It's true that we believe that in their deaths, the fallen soldiers ordered us to rejoice wholeheartedly and seemingly to forget them on Yom HaAtzma'ut, to celebrate with a full heart, even though just the day before we mourned their passing. But I'm not sure that the residents of the South have made any such a request while they're still alive. It's time to give strength to the South, and I would add to the North. May everyone consider celebrating at least part of Yom HaAtzma'ut this year in the South. And I would add for us, if not in person, then at least in heart. But I want to close with this. And this specifically relates to Yom HaZikaron, Israel's Memorial Day, which is tonight and tomorrow. There were many, many comments on social media to the letter that I just read to you, partially read to you. But here's one that I think sums up the whole thing. The message is, Halavai niya ru'uyim l'karban shehikriv. I pray that we be worthy of the sacrifices they made for us. That's Yom HaZikaron. And that's Yom HaAtzma'ut. May we be worthy of the sacrifices they made for us. My friends, I wish you a good day. I wish you a meaningful, heartfelt Yom HaZikaron tonight and tomorrow. I urge you to participate in whichever of the events you're able to do so. And I look forward to seeing you soon in person.